debate, the RO Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Canadian Heritage and Multiculturalism.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will be sharing my time with the member for Edmonton Centre. And I'd like to take this opportunity to stand today and remind this chamber of the importance of a free and independent press to a healthy democracy. I cannot say enough, a fundamental pillar of our democracy and all democracies around the world is a healthy, independent press. But that is now at risk, and it is being and it is putting us all at risk. Canada's news media industry and those around the world are fighting for their lives. They're being pushed to the limit by smaller and smaller advertising funding, and even more recently, dramatic changes in how people are receiving their news. If we don't take our heads out of the sand, it won't be too long before these changes will erode our democratic process altogether. I've seen firsthand in authoritarian countries what happens when the media aren't able to speak up. Minorities are ignored, or worse, punished for being who they are. Criticism of the government is prevented or silenced. People live in fear of what their government may do to them. This isn't a world that I or Canadians want to live in. This crisis faced by Canadian news media has come to a pinnacle in recent years. Countless layoffs, once strong and vibrant newspapers closing one after another, countless towns and cities without local journalists or reporting of any kind. Since 2009, daily and community newspapers have seen a 48% decrease in advertising revenues alone. Half of the revenue gone just like that, Madam Speaker. Half of the advertising revenue gone in just 10 years alone. Any industry with that kind of loss would be struggling. Just last week, the Hamilton Spectator announced that it will close its printing and mailroom operations and will likely sell its building. 73 full-time Canadian jobs and 105 part-time staff will be laid off, and equally troubling is the loss of local content in a major media market. Madam Speaker, the story does not stop there. Around the world, people have changed how they're getting their news. Social media and mobile phones have blown up in traditional markets. Canadians aren't sitting at home anymore just waiting for their curated and peer-reviewed morning paper to tell them about the news of the day. More and more, people are relying on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Google, and others for their news. These platforms hold none of the same standards as the news media. Verification, research, and sources have been thrown out the door for a quick click or negative motives. These platforms simply do not have resources or expertise to undertake in-depth reporting that holds corporations, organizations, or governments to account. We know that the press gallery in Ottawa is shrinking and is a fraction of its former self. They, however, do not have the resources to challenge the government or the opposition in a way they were once able to do. With web giants offering news for free, Canadians are quick to cutting their subscriptions. So, Madam Speaker, not only have news organizations had a huge drop in advertising, which in itself is an important part of their revenue model, these same organizations have had to contend with new players in the industry who don't play by the same rules. Faced with so many challenges, there are only two options: try and adopt or close shop altogether. Unfortunately, the second option is what appears to be happening. This isn't limited to just daily newspapers. Community newspapers, the foundation of our neighborhoods, a critical source of information for communities all across Canada, are facing the same challenges. 32% of daily newspapers and 19% of community newspapers have had to close their doors since 2009. Those still standing have had to face the hard reality of needing to adopt cutting staff, reducing printing, merging, are just some of the choices staff have had to make to simply stay alive. Madam Speaker, all these closures and reorganizations have had a massive impact on jobs in Canada. Since 2006, close to 1/4 of his workforce have been laid off. That means close to 10,000 jobs. In the last 3 years alone, more than 600 of these jobs have been cut. That means Canadians no longer are getting the news that they need to make this country, province, or town work. No more coverage of courtroom trials, no more news on current councillors or wards, people don't know what's going on in their neighborhoods. The best way they can hope for is sometimes getting a small story in a major paper. This hurts all of us. Avec un cycle de nouvelles de 24 heures,
the 24-hour news cycle leads to an incredible amount of information at our fingertips. And millions of Canadians use this information in order to find out what's going on around the corner. How can we as Canadians make the right choices about our government when many people don't even know what's going on because they aren't following the news like they used to?
With even less accurate reportings, fake news is able to spread even faster. And then add to the fact that people and organizations are trying to take advantage of Canadians by bombarding them with fake news on a daily basis. We've all seen the rise of anti-vaccine and flat earthers because of fake news cycles spreading uncriticized information. Many countries like Canada are under the constant threat of fake news spreading uncontrollably, made even worse because of a lack of journalists able to hold people to account. That is why our government saw the need to take action. Our $595 million tax credit investment in Canadian news over the next 5 years will help restore the news industry in Canada. Our government has established a panel that comprises not only publishers, but also reporters and other workers within the sector. This panel includes representation from both Francophone and media groups, as well as ethnic media representatives. Canadians deserve to know the truth about what is going on in Canada and around the world. Yet it seems that Conservative members across the way, Madam Speaker, continue to have problems with journalists and the truth. I don't know about you, but I've met many journalists, and none of them can be influenced or bought by government, and yet they keep trying to follow Doug Ford's lead and imply that journalists are the enemy. Their staff said that they would, quote, go for the jugular. When it came to the media, Madam Speaker, the opposition continues to be out of touch with real Canadians. Journalists and media play a fundamental role in our country. Canadians know that, and they should know that. To call fossils is disrespectful to journalists and disrespectful to Canadians. The party opposite continues to see enemies all around, conspiracy theories all around them. Next, they will be telling us we need to go around the plains because of the chemtrails, or start saying again how the scientists are out to get them. Madam Speaker, two fundamental principles have guided us in developing these policies. First, mechanism designed to support the news industry must be independent from the Government of Canada. And secondly, it must be based on the creation of original content. In closing, Madam Speaker, there is no denying that government has an important responsibility in ensuring the health of our democracy. I'm proud to sit as a member of the party that believes in investing in people, unlike the party opposite that wants to sit on its hands, or even worse, cut in our news industry. Our government is taking action to address issues faced by the Canadian news system. We believe in the need to invest and support the industry so that Canadians can get the news that they need. These initiatives recognize that strong, independent journalism is a key element to a healthy democracy while protecting the independence of the press on any platform. In an age where fake news is being spread freely, these investments ensure Canadians have access to reliable news coverage necessary to our country. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity, and I look forward to the questions.